All right. Okay. Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Racha Kudash. Noble honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the elect. And as you can see in the title, the race. Oh wow, that's a typo. Slakia should say the race that is set before us, not the. I think I should be able to edit it here. All right. So Lowell, and I mean it'll change at the end of the day, but the title should say the race that is set before us. Okay, and this is a title that I had caught wind of when I was watching the stream that was done by the elder apostle Ramlab, and a brother had put I believe it was a precept or so in there. It's or actually it was a comment, I think, that said the race that is set before us. It might have been a continuation of this precept here, but nevertheless, that's the title right there. All right, so Lord willing, it'll be edifying to the elect. So let's deal with that, right? Race. And when you read the scriptures, you'll notice that there are many times when the either a prophet or the Lord likens the kingdom of heaven or the scriptures or the ministry or the work of the prophets onto something else, right? Whether it be oil or riches or water, okay, or fire, or all of these different things. But there's always a connection in there, right? In which this would be wine, for example. But in here, as we're reading Hebrews chapter 12, verse 1, which is where the title of the lesson comes from, it says, "Wherefore, seeing we also are compassed about with so great a cloud of witnesses," okay, which represent the elect, okay, those that are and really also those that witness, that watch this, right? There's a scripture, I think it's First Corinthians 4:9. It talks about how the Lord has set forth us, the apostles, last, as it were, appointed unto death, and we are made a spectacle unto men and angels and all of that. Okay, but really, you got the rest of the elect. Okay, as it says, "Let us lay aside every weight and the sin which doth so easily beset us." Now, real quick, there's a precept here. This is the book of Second Esdras, chapter 16, right around the 70. Let's see, maybe the 72nd. No, not the 72nd. Let's see. Second Esdras, chapter 16, verse 70. Yeah, there we go. Verse 76. It says, and the guide of them who keep my commandments and precepts, saith the Lord power, let not your sins weigh you down, and let not your iniquities lift up themselves. See, so going back to Hebrews 12:1, it says, let us lay aside every weight and the sin which doth so easily beset us, and let us run with patience the race that is set before us. In here, letting you know that the apostles likening this work or this ministry onto a race, but not a sprint, but more of a marathon. And that's why he said with patience, okay? Because at the end of the day, when you look at a race, you have a starting point, and then you have a finish line. And you start at one point, depending on whatever it is, if it's a 200 meter, 400 meter, 600 meter, whatever, you have to pace yourself. Okay, you start off at a certain speed, you find your cruise mode or whatnot, and then you pace yourself all throughout. But throughout maybe they might tell you the first 100 meters, you put in a good, maybe a good 90% or whatever, and then the rest you go at a nice 85%, and then the last 100 meters you go at 100%, whatever it is. But you pace yourself, because if you go 100% right off the bat, you're gonna run out of stamina. But that's what this truth is likened onto. You have to pace yourself. You don't want to do too much and then burn out. You don't want to do too little and get left behind. You still want to cross that finish line. But as the Apostle Paul said here, we have to lay aside every weight and the sin which doth so easily beset us. If you are going to run a race, right, as weird looking as the attires for those that when you watch, like, for example, the Olympics, or you watch any track and field, you'll see that those that are running, they wear these short tight shorts, and then like the shirts and all those things, but it's made so that it's light, and that they're not wearing any heavy material that's going to slow them down or is going to weigh down on them, right? If you're going to run a race that you're trying to run at and do your best on, you're not going to go wearing heavy ass, big ass winter coat. You wearing clothes, that you wearing jeans, okay, wearing some Converse. That's not what you're going to go running the race with, right? So in this knowledge, or in this truth, or in this ministry, or in this walk, whatever you want to call it, as we are also likened onto running this race, we have to get rid of anything that may beset us in this race, that may slow us or distract us or mess us up, because our goal is to cross that finish line. There was a thought, I think, a precept that came to mind and just left me, but Lord willing, it'll come back. Okay, but the point is that you want to. Oh, there we go. Where is this at? This is it Second Esdras 14 and 18? Yeah. Let's see. But yeah, it's probably 14 and 16 or so. 15. Okay, 14 and 14. So this is the book of Second Esdras. I'm gonna actually start at verse 13. Second Esdras chapter 14, verse 13. It says, "Now therefore set thine house in order, and reprove thy people, comfort such of them as be in trouble, and now renounce corruption. Let go from thee mortal thoughts. Cast away the burdens of man. Put off now the weak nature." Because, yeah, we're running this race, but metaphorically, right? So the things that'll weigh you down, because how do you clearly run this race? You have to have a clear mind. The scriptures talk about him that is occupied in prophecy, who gives his mind to the law of the Most High, that the Lord is going to increase you, and that you're going to be focused. So that's how you're running this race, because as the saying goes, what the mind says, the body follows. So your spirit has to be in order, and your mind cannot be boggled down with all different thoughts of distractions. When it talks about being entangled with the affairs of this world, when you're entangled with the affairs of this world, that's not just the things that you physically do, but it's the things that you think about, the things that you let occupy your mind, because those are what end up taking up your time. The scriptures say, where a man's treasure is, there his heart will be also. So where the things that you value are, that's where your mind is going to be. Why do people think about their jobs? Why do people think about their families? Why do they think about all those things? Because they hold value to them. Do you find yourself thinking about things that don't hold value to you in some way, shape, or form? No. If you say you're walking down the street, right? You're walking down the street and some random person just says hi, or they just look at you, or they walk past you. You're not gonna go home and think about this random individual that literally walked past you, just like every other individual that walks past you. It's almost like that didn't happen. Why? Because it holds no significance. Now, if this person walked past you, bumped you, pulled out a gun on you, but then the cops were right there, so the person put the gun away and left, you would be thinking about that, because now it holds significance. Now it's important. So it's taking up some thought in your mind, whether through fear or anger or whatever it is. right? So the things that hold value ultimately hold space in your mind. And when they hold space in your mind, they hold time in your life because you will dedicate time to those things, whether you're thinking about it, planning on it, physically doing something about it. So you have to be careful the things that you allow in your mind, the things that you allow yourself to get entangled with. Now, we are in this world, but not of this world. So we do the things we have to do, or what users of the world that's not abusing it. So yeah, you have to do what you got to do. Certain things you got to think about, take care of. But you want your primary focus to be this knowledge. And anything that's unnecessary and is going to distract you or stress you out or weigh you down in this race, you have to let that go. That's why Yahushua spoke about cutting off the parts that offend you. That doesn't mean you're literally going to take a knife and cut off your hand, but you got to let go of those things that will be a detriment to your salvation. Okay. So as it says, let go from the mortal thoughts, cast away the burdens of man, put off now the weak nature, because all of those things at the end of the day are temporary. The burdens of man, the things that the affairs of this life, they're all temporary, and they should not. You should not be allocating more time and attention to those than that of the eternal things. Your mind should be focused on winning this race. So back to Hebrews 12 and 1 again, right? Wherefore, seeing also we are compassed about with so great a cloud of witnesses, let us lay aside every weight and the sin which doth so easily beset us, and let us run with patience the race that is set before us. So our mindset is we're running this race, and anybody that runs a race, well, the Apostle Paul mentioned that as well. 1 Corinthians chapter 9. Let me see. Yeah, this is good. Yeah, well, I can start at 23. A lot of brothers put these precepts up during the stream as well, but I mean, it's always good, to bring out the word of the Lord, right? 1 Corinthians 9 and 23 says, "And this I do for the gospel's sake, that I might be a partaker thereof with you." Verse 24, "Know ye not that they which run in a race run all, but one receiveth the prize? So run that ye may obtain." So in typically in a race, there's one winner, right? The number one, the first place. Okay. But in this kind of race, we're not racing against each other. It doesn't mean that in this race isn't the first person to cross the finish line. That the same way everybody's gonna get that same penny, everybody's gonna cross that finish line. You have to make it there. That is the part of this race, right? So run that ye may obtain that victory. It says, "And every man that striveth for the mastery is temperate in all things." They're self-controlled. They have a proper balance. Now they do it to obtain a corruptible crown, but we an incorruptible. And you need to understand the condition of the battle. You need to understand the the condition of the race, because people who strive for the worldly masteries, for the corruptible crowns, whether it's a boxing world championship or to win the playoffs, win the finals, or win the World Cup, whatever it is, when you look at these people, those that are in, top athletes, top players, top fighters, when you look at the level of discipline that they exhibit in order to do what they have to do, I mean, that should tell you something, right? Damn, this person is doing this for a World Cup, a trophy. So this person is doing this for a belt, okay, and the status and recognition that comes with it. But these are all temporary things. These are not eternal. And yet, look at how hard people go for these things. So you should be thinking, well, I'm in a race or I'm in a fight for something that is eternal, something that is not a corruptible crown. It is an incorruptible crown. So how much more discipline should I show? How much harder should I work? Why should somebody working for a corruptible crown be working harder than me, who is working for an incorruptible crown? Then what's stopping the Lord from saying, then why don't I just get that person and put him in your shoes? Because damn, if they're doing that for a corruptible crown, what they gonna do for an incorruptible one? And here it is, you ain't even doing half the things they doing. But see, it's all about the mind. It's about the determination, time, and consistency. There are 24 hours in a day. I mean, you're not working 24 hours a day. You're not sleeping 24 hours a day. You're not eating 24 hours a day. There's bound to be some time in the day that you are just chilling or having fun or just talking to somebody or doing whatnot. And so if you can find time in your day to do things that are absolutely not essential, but you can't find time to do the work of the Lord, there's a problem there. There's a serious problem there. And you need to check your fear. You need to check your fear of the Lord. Because see, when you fear the Lord, look, man, what's a good example? All right, I'll give you an example, right? Um, say somebody that has never that doesn't know how to swim goes to a pool. That person is not gonna jump in that pool unless they have either a lifeguard with them or the what do they call those things? The life jacket or they have like those tubes that the kids be in. They have some floats around their arms and they all those things, right? The things that keep you afloat, basically help and assist you. So they're not jumping in there without that, and they're damn sure not jumping into the deep end because they fear. So they're gonna make sure, no, I'm not going in there until I have such and such, because they fear. That fear is gonna make sure that they do it the right way, because they fear the consequences that can happen. So when you fear the Lord, as you should fear the Lord, you will prioritize the work of the Lord. You will find a way to get it done. Just like the person will find a way to get that lifeguard or whatnot, because lifeguard or the life vest or whatever it is, because of fear. That's why the Lord demands fear first. You can love somebody, but fear is more powerful. Why do you think these elites didn't try to rule the world through love? God is love, but God is fear. They know the power that comes in fear. Okay. Um, Carrying on, Slovakia. So carrying on, Slovakia. Back in 1 Corinthians 9:26, that I therefore so run, not as uncertainly, so fight I, not as one that beateth the air. Right? So as the Apostle Paul is saying, I'm not running this without, and that's why the scriptures talk about being fully persuaded in your own mind. You can't be in this. Here it is. You got some individuals that so why? What is your goal? And you claim, all right, you're in the truth, right? What's your goal? And then that might be a hard question to answer. My goal. What you mean my goal? Like what you like, what do I want to do? Like why am I here? Well, why are you here? Why did you come into the truth? What? Okay, yeah, the Lord woke me up. So what is your driving force? Why do you do this? Why do you wake up every day and do what you got to do? And that's like somebody that is running a race and then they don't know why they're running the race. If you don't know why you're running the race, then when you get tired, when you feel weak, when you trip and fall, what is going to make you get back up? What are you going to think about that's going to get you running faster? What are you going to think about that's going to tell you, look, forget about the fact that you're exhausted and you're running out of breath and your heart feels like it's bleeding or whatever. Forget about that. Your legs feel like they want to give up. Keep running. Keep moving those arms. Keep moving those legs. What is going to make you do that if you are running a race uncertainly? Or if you are doing something that your heart is not in, or you don't know why you're doing? Trust me, going through the motions is not going to do that. Going through the motions will tell you that, hey, this ain't worth it. You go through the motions when it's easy and it's doable, but this is where you got to push yourself. And that's the point where a lot of people are going to not be able to make it. That's why the Lord talked about enduring to the end, because it's easy to go through the motions when you don't have a reason to push yourself. But the work of the Lord, the fight for salvation doesn't just stop at the famine of the word. It doesn't just stop at, oh, I did all the videos and all that. The hour of temptation is coming. You got to have faith. Jacob's trouble is coming. You got to have faith. There are going to be so many instances where you might be so scared you might just be getting paralyzed. But you got to have faith, and you have to fight for your salvation past just going out on the highways and byways, because there's going to come a point where we're not going to be doing that anymore. Then what? So you have to be certain you in this race because you want to win the race. That is when it's going to make, if you trip, you're going to get back up. They drop the baton, you're going to pick it back up, and you're going to stay, even if you're in last place, you're going to still run to try and complete that race. Because you're running the race certainly. You're fully persuaded in your mind. You truly want it. And that's what the Lord wants to see. So sometimes he'll have it to where you do trip. You do fall. But the scriptures talk about a just man falleth and 7 times and gets back up. So as the Apostle Paul said, I therefore so run, not as uncertainly, so fight I, not as one that beateth the air. So no, he knows his target. He's hitting his target. Okay. Verse 27, it says, but I keep under my body and bring it into subjection, which is that discipline, lest that by any means, when I have preached to others, I myself should be a castaway. Because the scriptures talk about the heart is desperately wicked. The heart is deceitful above all things and desperately wicked. The Apostle Paul himself said, it is not I that sin, but sin that dwelleth in me. So being in these chains of darkness in this flesh, we are subject to sin. So what does that mean? You need to take extra precaution. You're not going to be perfect, but you do your best. You discipline yourself. And it really starts with your mind. The mind is a very powerful thing, but it can also be a very dangerous place. If allowed to fester and nurture the wrong energy, the wrong spirit, the wrong thoughts, the mind can be a very destructive thing. So moving on, this is the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 7, verse 42. Now in here you have Ezra basically speaking with the angel Uriel, and they speak about the condition. I believe this is the same chapter, the 7th chapter. Let me see. That talks about the yeah. So this is the same chapter. The angel, basically gives the similitude to Ezra about a city that's built in as an inheritance for a man, but it's set before you get there is a dangerous place. You got to cross that dangerous path, and it's his. But if he never gets to it, how can he actually claim it? All right. So verse 42, it says, he answered me and said, this present life is not the end. Because when you read in the book of 2nd Ezra he's grieved because he's seeing the way that Israel, the condition that Israel is in versus the heathens that are round about. Because at this point, when you go back to the 3rd chapter, it tells you how he was in Babylon after the destruction of Jerusalem. So Ezra himself got to witness the different, the way what was happening, the condition Israel was in, knowing that the temple was destroyed, the walls were destroyed, the laws were burnt, and he was grieved at this. And so he was, he isolated himself and he was praying to the Lord and fasting and speaking to the Lord. And the Lord sent the angel Uriel to him to answer some of his questions. And when you read it, you'll see that he was, Ezra was impatient at times, wondering, well, why do we have to wait? Why are we suffering this? Well, what's this about? Why can't the judgment just come now? Because why can't we get the blessings? Then the angel says, well, because the judgment has to come for all the sins that have already happened. He said, well, what can't we just bring it now? He said, well, no, you got to wait. He said, well, just put everybody here at this time. So you can, instead of waiting for those that come in the last days, put them all here, judge them now, and let's just get it over with. But that's not how it works. Okay. And that's why the angel told him the Lord does not stir nor move the times, till the said measure. So verse 42, it says, he answered me and said, this present life is not the end, where much glory doth abide. Therefore have they prayed for the weak. But the day of doom shall be the end of this time, and the beginning of the immortality for to come. So see, Ezra knew, because these things were revealed to him. So he knew about those things, just like we know about the kingdom now. And sometimes you meditate on it, and it is just such a beautiful thing that you hasten the day. You can feel your spirit literally hastening, praying to the Lord. Oh Lord, when? We're close, but still, when? It says, wherein corruption is past, intemperance is at an end, infidelity is cut off, righteousness is grown, and truth is sprung up. Then shall no man be able to save him that is destroyed, nor to oppress him that hath gotten the victory. And that's why it mentions in Revelation, the 22nd chapter, let him that is holy be holy still, and him that is just, be just still, and him that is unjust and unholy, let him be unholy still. Because you're not going to be able to take somebody that's not of the elect and make them of the elect, and vice versa. Verse 46, I answered then and said, this is my first and last saying, that it had been better not to have given the earth unto Adam, or else when it was given him, to have restrained him from sinning. For what profit is it for men now in this present time to live in heaviness, and after death to look for punishment? O thou Adam, what hast thou done? For thou it was that has sinned. For though it was thou that sinned, thou art not fallen alone, but we all that come of thee. And I believe the Apostle Paul also mentions that by one man death entered into the world. It says, and whoa, wait a minute. This is a precept right here. All right, 2 Ezra 7:48. It says, O thou Adam, what hast thou done? For though it was thou that sinned. Hold up. Right? So Adam sinned, and according to 1 John 3:4, we know what is sin. Sin is the transgression of the law. Now, if there was no law during the time of Adam, then it's not possible for Adam to have sinned. Remember, the Apostle Paul said, where there is no law, there is no sin. So in order for Adam to have sinned, he needs to have had the laws back then. They weren't written down on stone as they were given to Moses, but it doesn't mean the laws didn't exist back then. Okay, so there's some more proof for you. Verse 49, it says, for what profit is it unto us, if there be promised us an immortal time, whereas we have done the works that bring death? Right. So you're telling us that these good things are promised unto us, but then again, in order to get those good things, we got to be good. But here it is, we're doing wickedness. It says, and that there is promised us an everlasting hope, whereas ourselves being most wicked are made vain. So Ezra's wondering, how are we ever going to achieve that? And that there are laid up for us dwellings of health and safety, whereas we have lived wickedly. And the glory of the Most High is kept to defend them which have led a weary life, whereas we have walked in the most wicked ways of all. And that there should be shewed a paradise, whose fruit endureth forever, wherein is security and medicine, since we shall not enter into it. For we have walked in unpleasant places. So Ezra is saying, well, what's the point? What's the point in having these blessings? What's the point in knowing about the paradise and the kingdom and all these things if we can't even achieve that? Because look at us. The works we're doing do not warrant that kind of reward. So how will we ever get that kind of reward? But that's why the Lord sent Yahushua back. Because through Yahushua, we would have the passage. It says, and that the faces of them which have used abstinence shall shine above the stars, whereas our faces shall be blacker than darkness. For while we lived and committed iniquity, we considered not that we should begin to suffer for it after death. Then answered he me and said, this is the condition of the battle which man that is born upon the earth shall fight, that if he be overcome, he shall suffer as thou hast said, but if he get the victory, he shall receive the thing that I say. So this is the condition of the battle, which is also the condition of the race that we started off with. So we have to run that race to win and to overcome. Because if we overcome, if we get the victory, which is through Yahweh Shai, then we're going to receive all of those. Verse 59, it says, for this is the life whereof Moses spake unto the people while he lived, saying, choose thee life that thou mayest live. See? So at the end of the day, this is the blessing, the glory, the reward that's gonna come from serving Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. And this is all a part of the race that is set before us, as where in this world you win a gold medal and whatever the case is. But this race that we're running is gonna win us far more than that. A race is temporary. A race is short. You don't run a race for the rest of your life. A race is for a period in time. But eventually it's going to come to an end. And once that race is over, wherever you fall in, that's where you fall in. You always keep that in mind. You know, with how you serve the Lord and what you do, we're constantly being assessed and evaluated by the angels and all of that. And if you're not doing the best that you can do, well, you're gonna get the reward based on your works. That's what the Lord said. And that's just gonna be it until the rest of eternity. It ain't gonna be, well, I was a 2/3, but I worked my way up into the 1/3, and then of that I worked my way up into the higher, I worked my way up in there until I was a part of the 144, and then I narrowly squeezed my way up into the 12. I grabbed onto the heel, I pulled somebody down, and I crawled up onto that. That's not how it works. This isn't like a tier hopping system. I'm gonna just hop from this, I hop from that, hop here, and hop there, and hop here and then there. No. Okay? You either here or you not, because the Most High places you. But even still, you got to be of the mindset that, look, I don't know where the Lord placed me, but I know what He gave me. And with that, I'm going to do the best that I can. So even if the Lord says, look, I've only given you enough to be within tier 3, well, you should aim to be the highest in tier 3. But always have that ready mindset and that ready attitude, which is not easy to have every day because things happen. But it only goes to show how bad do you want it? How determined are you? How zealous are you for the law of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai? So run this race with the mindset to win. Okay. Yep, dyed garments from Basra, Hebrews 6:11. And we desire that every one of you do show the same diligence to the full assurance of hope unto the end. Yeah, because like we keep saying, man, my diligence, the next brother's diligence, that's not what's going to save you. We're all being assessed and evaluated based on the talents the Lord has given us. Okay, He's not going to take you and compare you to the next brother and say, oh, okay, well, you did this. No. It's about what is you do. And likewise, it doesn't matter. Oh, well, look, that man did worse than me. So if anything, you should let me off the hook because he did worse than me. The Lord doesn't care. He'll deal with that individual when He deals with that individual. But right now, He's dealing with you. The Lord is like, look, pull up His file. I'm dealing with you. You see that right there? That's your name, right? These are your works. These are your wickedness. These are the deeds. These are the things you did. I'm dealing with you. So don't tell me about him or her or anybody. Cowards do that, and that ain't you. But that's the attitude. Yeah, we're in this all together, but at the end of the day, you're still alone. Because when the Lord judges you, He ain't going to judge you factoring in others. He's going to judge you based on you. What have you done? How does He feel about you? Does He feel that you are an asset to His business? Does He like you? Because that factors in. In this society, oh no, you can't have favorites and all that. Most High has favorites. So you better make sure the Most High likes you. That's what matters. And you know who the Lord loves? The Lord loves those that do His will. The Lord loves those that obey Him. That's who the Lord loves. So we all know what we got to do, and we just got to do it right. Anyway, with that, I'm going to end it here. Lord willing, that was edifying and exhorting unto the elect. In closing, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakha Kodesh. Until next time, Shalom.